Yesterday, attorneys for the prosecution in the Steve Bannon trial accused Mr. Bannon of, quote, poisoning his own trial. And the reason they said this is because Tuesday, Steve Bannon decided that he was going to hold a little impromptu press conference outside of the courtroom where he bashed the federal government that is actually going after him. Now, it's not uncommon for defendants or even, plaintiffs to do these kinds of press conferences before or after a trial that given day. They'll say, listen, the facts of this case are going to prove that I didn't do this or that this person did do it, whatever it is. But they don't outright go out and attack the individual that they're prosecuting, because that's a very, very stupid move. If you want to proclaim your innocence, you proclaim your innocence. But you don't go after the people that are going after you. That is pretty much rule number one for any client in any lawsuit. If you want to do it, you do it in court. You don't do it to the press. And Steve Bannon managed to violate that one very simple rule that could end up tanking his entire trial. But here's the thing. Steve Bannon is already on shaky ground to begin with. Even before the trial started, you had his lawyers repeatedly in court get smacked down by the judge overseeing the case, letting them know that all of their different defenses were not going to fly in court because none of them were based in reality. Now, let me read this here from the Daily Beast. These are all the different defenses that the judge has already, basically struck down. When Bannon's team argued that their client relied on his personal attorney for legal advice, Nichols, the judge, pointed to established legal precedent that doesn't allow someone to rely on that excuse. When the team claimed Bannon got approval from the former president to invoke executive privilege, Nichols noted that Trump was no longer president and Bannon hadn't worked in the White House in years. And when Bannon argued that, as a one-time White House official long before the insurrection, internal DOJ policy somehow allowed him to avoid even showing up to plead the Fifth Amendment and remain quiet, Nichols shot that down too. So every single defense that Bannon and his lawyers have put up, the judge has already said, no, we're not going to do that. No, you can't say that. No, these things you were trying to argue are in fact not true. We're going to be sticking to the facts in this case, and if you can't do that, then this is going to be a very unpleasant experience for you. As I pointed out earlier this week, Steve Bannon does have a guest host who's taking care of his podcast, and on Monday he had on an attorney who's apparently a good friend of Bannon's show, who said that this is basically already case closed, right? Bannon is going to be found guilty. So when even Bannon's friends are out there saying this guy is going to be found guilty, they're not admitting he's guilty, but saying he's going to be found guilty, so that's an important distinction. You pretty much already know at that point that it's over. He has no defenses, and it is going to come down to, did you receive the subpoena and did you comply with it? And the answers to that, as that lawyer on Bannon's show pointed out earlier this week, are yes, I got it. No, I didn't comply. And it is important to remember, everybody, that he is facing 2 misdemeanor counts here that carry prison sentences of 30 days to up to 1 year each. So, if he is convicted, the judge could do a minimum of 60 days in prison or a maximum of 2 years in prison. But honestly, I don't think we're going to get to that point. I think eventually Bannon is going to see the writing on the wall, realize that he doesn't have a legal leg to stand on, and with that threat of jail time for a significant amount of time for a guy like Bannon, when he sees that, he could be more likely to cut a deal. And if his lawyers are worth anything that Bannon is paying them, they're probably working behind the scenes right now to convince him that making a deal is his only path forward. This is Hattie. Hattie wants to know why you have not subscribed to our channel. You obviously like our videos, so do us a favor and subscribe.